My grandfather started teaching me to cook all his recipes and telling me stories every day, so I thought he was finally opening up after years of being distant. Grandpa Ed had always been quiet, the kind of man who'd sit through entire family dinners without saying more than pass the salt. 40 years of family gatherings, and I could count on one hand the conversations we'd had. But 3 months ago, something changed. He called me out of nowhere. "Can you come over Saturday? Want to teach you something." I was 24. Grandpa had never asked to spend time with me before. Not once. I drove to his house Saturday morning, curious and a little nervous. He was standing in his kitchen wearing a red apron I'd never seen him wear. "We're making pierogi, your grandmother's recipe. You need to write this down." We spent 4 hours making pierogi from scratch. He showed me every single step. How to mix the dough until it felt like velvet. The exact ratio of potato to cheese. "Your grandmother always measured by feel," he said, his voice soft. "But I'll teach you measurements so you don't forget." He made me write everything in a blue notebook. Even drew little diagrams. The next Saturday, he called again. "Come over. Teaching you the brisket today." Same thing. Hours in the kitchen together. Detailed instructions. "Write this down. Exactly 275 degrees. 4 hours. Not 3.5. Not 4.5. 4. Don't forget." He stood over my shoulder watching me write every word, making sure I got it right. This became our routine. Every single Saturday. A new recipe each time. Cabbage rolls, matzo ball soup, apple cake with cinnamon. Each time, he'd tell me stories I'd never heard before. About his childhood in Poland before the war. About meeting Grandma at a dance in 1962. About their wedding with only 8 people. "Why are you telling me all this now?" I asked during week 7 while we made challah bread. He smiled at me. Really smiled. "Getting old, kiddo. Want someone to remember these things." It made sense. He was 79. Maybe he was finally ready to share his life before it was too late. He started giving me things too. His father's pocket watch that didn't work anymore. Grandma's cookbook with notes in the margins written in Polish. A photo album I'd never seen with pictures from the old country. "You should have these," he'd say quietly. "Keep them safe for me." I thought it was sweet. Thought he was finally bonding with his grandson after all these years. Week 9, we made Grandma's chocolate babka. His hands shook while measuring the flour. I noticed, but didn't say anything. "You okay, Grandpa?" "Just tired. Getting old does that." He made me remake the babka 3 times until it was perfect, until I could do it by myself. "Need to make sure you can do this without me watching." "You're not going anywhere," I joked, trying to lighten the mood. He didn't laugh, just squeezed my shoulder hard and said, "Write down the temperature again. 350, don't forget." Week 11, my mom called me crying so hard I could barely understand her. "Grandpa's in the hospital." My stomach dropped straight through the floor. "What happened? Just come, right now, please." I drove there going 90, ran 3 red lights, found my whole family in the waiting room. My mom's face was swollen and red. "What's going on?" She handed me a manila folder with shaking hands. Medical records. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely read. Stage 4, pancreatic cancer. Diagnosed 3 months and 2 weeks ago. Prognosis, 3, 6 months. Treatment declined. He'd known the whole time. 3 months ago. Right when he started calling me. Right when the cooking lessons began. My throat closed up. I felt like I was choking. "He didn't tell anyone," my mom whispered. "Started chemo quietly for a few weeks. Stopped when it made him too sick. Didn't want us to know until he couldn't hide it anymore." I walked to his room on legs that barely worked. He was lying there looking so small, thinner than I'd noticed. Pale. Gray. When had he gotten so gray? "Hey, kiddo," he said. His voice was barely a whisper. "Grandpa." I couldn't finish. My eyes were burning. "Why didn't you tell me?" "Didn't want you sad during our time together. Wanted it to be good. To be about the food, about Grandma, not about me dying." Tears were running down my face. "The recipes, the stories. You were saying goodbye. Wanted you to remember everything. Wanted someone to carry it all forward when I'm gone." He died 2 weeks later on a Sunday morning. I was holding his hand. His last words were, "Did you remember the challah recipe? The one with raisins?" I couldn't speak through the crying, but I nodded yes. "I made pierogi yesterday. Followed every instruction exactly. They tasted just like his."